out, I didn't communicate. They didn't understand me. So it's an illusion that you communicate. So everything we do, we need to do trusting God and seeing God work. And even simple communication is a problem. Well, if you're on the foreign field or in the ministry, you know what's going on. You know you're doing everything right. But communicating that clearly is not easy. It's often difficult to actually communicate what's going on. So use plain language. Avoid jargon. Explain the ministry impact in understandable terms. Be consistent. So if you're going to do a report, decide, am I going to do a monthly newsletter? Am I going to do a daily comment? Am I going to do something weekly? So establish a rhythm and stick with it. Be consistent. And I think I've got some examples at the end, different ways of doing that. And focus on the outcomes of what's happening and not just the activities themselves. Honesty. So you're going to have successes and you're going to have things that blow up, don't go right. Disappointments. So don't just share all the wonderful things God's done and all the successes. Share what's really happening. Share the failures too. Because that makes you credible. Makes you believable when you're honest with people about what's going on. Let's keep talking. In today's communication world, everybody expects better communication. So they want to know that if you're taking time to communicate with them, then they want to know what's really happening and evidence for that. So you can't make up stuff. You just have to be honest as how things that are happening align with your mission objectives. So transparent, financial transparency. Now you don't want to get bogged down in numbers, but a clear summary of how funds are being allocated. A summary is the key word. Now, all this stuff takes wisdom. You got to think about it and pray about it as you compose these communication documents. So it's not something you can just do on the side. It actually becomes part of your ministry. An important part of your ministry is communicating and being financially accountable. So oversight mechanisms. You need some way that you are responsible to somebody and that you have clear, godly oversight of what you're doing. And financial reviews. So accountability. Okay. Trust builds through relationships. So you need to establish relationships, not just information. So personalize things. You could address donors by name, and when you're thanking them for their gift, reference the specific amount they gave and address them by name, be specific about it. You can share testimonies. Anything that connects emotionally and spiritually is worth sharing. So think about that, not just facts. In today's world, donors can ask questions. Encourage donors to ask you questions and answer them in your communications. And express gratitude. Meaningful, sincere gratitude in specific ways. Managing expectations and navigating challenges. So, proactive communication, especially during difficulties. Tell them what's happening. And ask prayer, but set realistic expectations from the beginning. If you have delays, setbacks, and challenges, communicate those. not expecting this miraculous, huge thing to happen that you believe in and you're believing for and all this, but be realistic in how you project that. So you don't want to communicate that if you support me, we're going to make this happen. And it's just beyond what reasonably could happen. And frame challenges as God's ongoing work and not failures. Our long-term partnerships, you want to establish a partnership with people and encourage them to pray for you and give you feedback. If your ministry changes over the years, talk about the change of your vision. And when you do have a milestone, celebrate it together. I have supported some missionaries 45 years. I kept up that relationship all this time. There's probably half a dozen missionaries that I've supported for both number of years. And I know them. I keep up with them. There were times when their newsletter, when it wasn't easy to write a newsletter, especially years ago when communication was more difficult. Newsletters were few and far between on most missionaries. But I really appreciate the effort that they would go to when they were able to send one. So some of the missionaries I supported in the early days, you might get a newsletter every 6 months. It was a hard work and a lot of effort, which distracted them from their ministry. Nowadays, we support missionaries that we hear from usually monthly, some of them weekly. And there's one gentleman we know that we hear from him every day. He puts out a prayer request every day. And he doesn't ask for money, but he puts out a prayer support is what he wants. So that you have to work out. So that was the everyday example is Chris Mitchell. He's the CBN Bureau Chief. You've seen him on CBN if you ever watch. So he's the Bureau Chief in Israel. He's been there for years. And I just copied one of his daily. Not emails, text messages. We get every day from him something. And he's got problems in his family. He just recently had his brother die in the U.S. and he's in Israel. He has to go back and forth from Israel to the U.S. all the time. He has to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and make flights. He's got to coordinate with people, producers and video camera people. He doesn't have a steady crew. He has to get different people for different things. He's got to have interviews. He's got to write scripts. It's just a very complex, busy life. But every night, before he goes to bed, he sends out a text like this. He says, "Thanks for praying. Today went very well, and the family issue I mentioned is still like there is an elephant in the room. Please continue to pray Holy Spirit will be a blanket of love to everyone involved, and that He, the Waymaker, will make a way. Thanks to you for praying for the episode of the Miracle of Israel. The script is nearly completed. Please pray we can finish it tomorrow and then complete October 7th in the Battle for Truth. Grace, this is his daughter. Please pray too can rearrange her travels so she can come up earlier, and that the Lord will bless her at this time abundantly. She's short of a product, trying to find her way in life, not walking on the Lord. Please pray too for Liz, that's his wife, as she prepares to share a message with the women's group in Michigan. Thanks so much, love and blessings." I find it amazing that as busy and as sleep deprived as he is, he's about my age. He travels the world constantly, that he takes time every night to write a letter about this much. It's amazing to me, but people all over the world pray for him. We've met him 2 or 3 times when we were in Israel. We've been to his office and prayed with him, and somebody in our group prophesied over him. And he prayed for us. It's been the neatest relationship. Angela had met him on one of her trips to Israel, so we sort of know him. He might recognize us because we've interacted with him 2 or 3 times. But we pray for him every day. This is fiery evangelist, and he had about 6 churches going, and was really walking with the Lord. And then on the way back from a mission conference, they ran off a cliff, and her husband was killed. And she didn't find out about it for a week or so. She was back in the town in Guatemala they lived in with her 5 children. So she's a widow in Guatemala with 5 children. Everybody expected her to just come back to the U.S. The mission agency went to her and said, "We will support you, whatever your mission is." And God told her to stay and start a private Christian school. And so that was 40 years ago. She has 1,300 students in the school, goes from kindergarten through 12th grade, and people are clamoring to get in. In fact, they need to have some, they're fundraising right now to raise the roof. Now, she communicates through her mission agency, the Globe International. It's an excellent agency. You go to the webpage for the agency and you can select which missionary you want to find. It goes right to them, it gives their testimony, it tells all about them, it has buttons you can push to support them. They provide oversight for her. So she does a good newsletter and has supporters that have supported her for many years in the States. And she regularly puts out a beautiful newsletter. And I don't think I copied it. I think I copied it. I think I brought it. Okay.
Can I share one thing about her office? When you walk into the offices going into the school, everything is in glass, which represents accountability and everything done in the open. So the financial office, the principal's office, her office, it represents transparency.
So, yeah, this is a Globe newsletter. Okay. Hers are like this. They come out like this every week or every month. Sometimes it's 2 pages, but they do a great newsletter. This is a newsletter put out by Globe itself, which covers all the missionaries. And if any of you are interested in a short-term mission trip, there's a barcode here. We're getting together a short-term mission trip. They don't say where, but it's going to be August 30th to October 24th. If you're interested.
That's a long trip.
Yeah. It's a serious short-term mission trip. They're open and awesome.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you can see it. Here's hers. I forgot to add it. This is her newsletter. It's newsy. She covers it. She's got pictures of the children, their activities in the school. And it's just well written. And it's a great newsletter. About like that. And this is a video I made of our when we took our trip down there. And I don't know if you can hear it or not. This house is going to see if it'll be what we
Ya Moses.
So,
Ahí grande.
did?
Casi, pero
Yeah.
yeah.
That's it.
But you kept it to 3 minutes.
It's a 3-minute video. I think the volume improves in a minute. It's too quiet.
Yeah.
Anyway, you can just look at the pictures. Why? What's that? She's 84. She's written a book. There's a picture of the book.
Isn't that amazing?
Order the book on Amazon.
Broken vessel.
She's younger than 18 years old.
Wow.
Tell why you kept it so short.
And we kept it short because people lose interest after 3 minutes. We kept it a little 3-minute video, which we played.
You said she's 18 years
She's
old?
84.
84.
She had her
40-something.
45. She had her hip replaced a few years ago and started swimming every morning at 4 a.m. for
visit to have facilities, what do you normally do as visitors? What are the activities?
We thought we were gonna go and help with feeding people in the mountains and do some things with the children, but she's 8,000 feet up in the mountains in this remote city, and she has been so blessed. She has the whole thing organized and all together. Didn't really need much. She could use doctors and dentists to have clinics. Here, there's a volume. But we did some feeding programs up in the mountains. But you could do painting and helping and stuff like that. But she hires people to do the work.
So is it language the barrier to be for a short time missionary visit?
You can do short-time research. You can find something for you to do.
There's no language barrier. It's
Language is language. Just speak Spanish. Huh?
Spanish. But there's enough English speakers.
Oh,
They teach the children English. And they turned down 100 students this year.
United States right here, Mexico.
Guatemala, Belize.
So in Guatemala, you're not required to, for public schools, you're not required to have a college education, but all of her teachers have an education, and some of her teachers were there as students.
Oh,
So this is,
That is South America. This is North America. And right
so
here,
that
that
was 3
building,
minutes. So we're trying to raise, help her raise about $100,000. She still needs about $50,000. And they have to start work in October. Their school break is October to January. So they've got to, so they have to actually have the money, start work, and finish the work before school starts in January, the 1st of January. So there's like 3 months they have to actually do the work. So it's an amazing thing. She is totally filled with faith that it's going to happen, and they're going to get the school built.
The work always completed.
Yeah, so I give her as a good example of a experienced missionary that God has blessed with lots of trials. Many times in their lives are threatened. There's a lot of guerrilla activity. There's still a lot of gang activity. In fact, the first day we were there, we couldn't go visit the school because the children were not allowed to come to school that day. There had been a lot of gang violence, and 17 police officers had been killed, murdered by gangs on that Sunday. And so they wouldn't let the students come to class on Monday. They opened up on Tuesday. But this kind of thing happens all the time in Guatemala. The gang leaders run the country from prison. And when they want some, the gang leaders are mostly in prison, and they run the country from in prison. They told all their followers, we want this, the government to do this for us, and in order to get them to do it, we're going to tell you to kill police officers. So that on that Sunday, they killed 17 police officers all over the country. Just they were standing directing traffic in the street, people drove by and shot them. And this is in
Not in
Guatemala.
America. It's
Guatemala.
Qatar, South America. Qatar. West America.
So it's and so nobody could, the whole country shut down the next day until they negotiated with the prison people. The someone that does a really good job of communicating on a regular basis, and she has maintained support, and the school is there because of supporters and support she's raised over all these years, and they continue. Now, she's 84. Her adopted Guatemalan son is now the headmaster of the school. So if God takes her home tomorrow, the school keeps going. Her son is actually, and he's a really sweet man. God's worked it out, but she's taking care of replacing herself. But all this is well communicated, and her sponsors, people in the States, keep supporting her. And so that's a monthly newsletter. Now, we have another friend who's a missionary in Nicaragua. And she's 65-ish. She's never married. Her life is in mission. She's totally dedicated to Nicaragua. But she writes newsletters too often. Too long. She gets every detail of her life. And when you get the newsletter, you say, I don't have time to read this. And so she's making a mistake. Now, people still support her, but nobody reads the whole newsletter. They're just too long. So I share that for balance, for wisdom. So it's just it's extreme, but she's just too much. But people love her and support her, and she needs to retire. She's at that age where she came and stayed in our home for 3 months while she was getting cancer treatment. And she's made it through that, but she still has to come back to the States regularly. Health-wise, she probably needs to retire and come back to the U.S. So that's a difficult decision to make. But then Globe International is pastoring her and working with her to help her make those decisions.
Please, I have a question. Is it wrong for, let's say, that people individually supporting you to do a particular project, is it wrong to send them the receipt of maybe something that you bought concerning that
That's a
project?
really good way to communicate. I'll tell you how Globe does it. The director of Globe told us that what he tells the missionaries is, you use wisdom in what you buy. We get your money, we send it to you, and you just send me the receipts. So Globe gets all the receipts. You can spend it however you want, but when you spend it, you're going to send the receipt to the boss back at Globe Missions. You're accountable. And so if your supporters know that there's a boss that you're reporting to, then they know the accountability is there, but I've been watched over. Now, if you're on your own and you don't have an oversight of a mission agency, you do need to work out that accountability. So it would be wise to have an overseer, have an agency, somebody to support you, at least a pastor or a church or a board, and have the board certify that they've reviewed your books every year. Maybe have an accountant, like the board sends the books to an accountant and pays the accountant to review it. So every year there is accountability. It's very wise to do. You can really get in trouble running an agency without that kind of accountability. I work with another group. I was going to share this with you. This is Abortion Recovery America. It's a woman in our church that started this ministry many years ago, and it is a prayer group, a Bible study that women who've had abortions can participate in it. It's 10 or 12 weeks, and it does an amazing thing that usually doesn't happen through counseling. In fact, counselors send women to ARA because it's really more effective than just counseling. It's women who've been through the abortion and have really been set free and obtained forgiveness. healed me and set me free from the trauma I had by abortion. So it really transforms lives. So I work on the board of this organization, and our board of directors, every year, we make sure that the books are accountable. So this is a brochure they made up, and I can pass that around to people to take a look at that. So the gist of all of this, the summary is being communicating honestly. Yes, it's communicating honestly and openly with clear reports of impact and personally expressing gratitude, maintaining a personal relationship with your supporters. Be honest, be open, have integrity, and make sure that you're representing the Lord wisely. It's very easy to get in trouble and mess up relationships and discourage the donors that support you. So that's sort of the gist of it. Now, questions or comments?
What are some of the things that cause this breakdown in relationships between the judges?
It's like you wrong the updates.
Disappointment, if you promise something you can't deliver, and it just falls apart, that can be discouraging to you and discouraging to your supporters. So, it's difficult in a life of faith to always do everything that God gives you the vision to do. If you overpromise, then you can get in trouble. You just need to be open and honest about what you're attempting to do. You're asking them to pray with you about it, and set a goal that God gives you. But the worst thing is to be dishonest and not have integrity in how you manage your ministry or the money that comes in. Okay? But on the other hand, if you maintain integrity, people feel like they can trust you, and they see God moving through your ministry, your time is up.
Thank you so
It's
much.
very important to end on time.
Sir.
I have one more question.
Okay.
Is it a good thing to send videos of the work that you do at a particular location to your donors? Is it a good thing to do that?
Well, you would think that'd be pretty good. If you don't want to violate the privacy of the people that you're working with. So it's got to be something that it's okay with them. And something, it could be embarrassing to the people you're working with. So you need to be sure you have their approval and that you're not creating a problem there. But yeah, videos are really good and pretty much expected nowadays.
So thank you so much, sir. Because we are at the church. What's the status person? This is I've been there. This is what we did at the church. This 2018 mission report. We get report and we have the picture of what we do on the field. Move the video, the missionary, send a letter to the local church, the church that sent it, and they be supporting since 2012. So every year when I come back, I have to give report to the church, what we did on the field. Then, even the minority, we have to give report of appreciation, then letter of recognition.
Yeah, actually, my husband is the one in charge of